Imagine standing in the middle of a terminal building that is large enough to hold 3 football fields. The floor is polished marble. The air conditioning is humming. The lights are blazing. But there is one thing missing. People. You look at the departure screens and they are mostly blank. You look at the check-in counters and there are no lines. You look at the baggage claim and the belts are still. This isn't a scene from a sci-fi movie where humanity has vanished. This is Al Maktoum International Airport, also known as Dubai World Central, DWC. It was designed to be the airport of the future. It was promised to be the largest aviation hub in human history, capable of handling 160 million passengers a year, more than Heathrow and Hartsfield-Jackson combined. They poured $35 billion into the desert sand, dreaming of an Aerotropolis that would shift the center of the world's gravity to Dubai South. But today, for most of the day, it sits like a silent cathedral in the dunes. While the main Dubai airport, DXB, is bursting at the seams, this massive mega project remains a ghost town, operating at a tiny fraction of its capacity. It is a place of echoing footsteps and empty runways. In this video, we are going to investigate the $35 billion mistake. We are going to find out why airlines are refusing to move there, why the Aerotropolis dream turned into a parking lot for grounded planes, and whether this sleeping giant will ever wake up or if it will remain the world's most expensive white elephant forever. But before we explore the empty terminals, I need to keep it 100% real with you. We are a small, independent channel fighting against the massive algorithms. We are working day and night to monetize this channel so we can afford to keep doing these deep dive investigations full time. Here is the deal. It takes you exactly 2 seconds to hit that subscribe button. It costs you absolutely nothing, $0, but it helps us exponentially. If you want to help us expose the truth and grow this community, please just click subscribe right now. It's a tiny effort for you, but it changes everything for us. Thank you. Now let's enter the ghost terminal. To understand the scale of this failure, you have to go back to the mid-2000s. Dubai was on a winning streak. They were building the tallest tower, the biggest mall, and the biggest islands. The ruler of Dubai looked at the map and saw a problem. The existing airport, DXB, was in the middle of the city. It couldn't expand anymore. It was hemmed in by buildings. So they drew a line in the sand 40 kilometers south, in the middle of absolutely nowhere. They called it Dubai World Central. The plan was insane. 5 parallel runways that could operate simultaneously, hundreds of gates, a logistics hub that would connect sea and air cargo in hours, a city of 1 million people built around the airport. They broke ground. The sand moved. The billions flowed. But then 2008 happened. The global financial crisis hit Dubai harder than almost anywhere else. The credit crunched. The real estate market collapsed. Construction on the mega airports has slowed to a crawl. The grand opening was pushed back, and back, and back. When it finally opened for passengers in 2013, it was a shadow of the original render. Instead of the futuristic glass palace, it was a smaller modular terminal. But even then, they expected a rush. They expected airlines to fight for slots. The reality was dead silence. Major airlines refused to move. Why? Because DXB is convenient. It is 10 minutes from downtown. DWC is 45 minutes away in the desert. If you are a premium passenger flying first class on Emirates, do you want to land in the sand dunes and take a long taxi ride? No. You want to land in the city. Emirates, the state-owned airline, said they wouldn't move their main hub until the new airport was fully ready. But the airport couldn't be fully ready without the revenue from the airlines. It was a classic catch-22. So for years, the airport became a weird mix of budget airlines and cargo planes. Wizz Air flew there. Some Russian charter flights flew there. But the massive A380 kept going to the old airport. Walking through DWC in 2016 felt like breaking into a closed building. You could hear a pin drop. The duty-free shops had staff standing around with bored expressions, polishing the same perfume bottles for hours because there were no customers to buy them. Then came the parking lot era. When the pandemic hit in 2020, global aviation stopped. Airlines needed somewhere to put their massive fleets. DWC finally found a use. It became the world's most expensive parking garage. Emirates parked dozens of their Airbus A380s there. The runways were lined with these sleeping giants. It was a striking image. Billions of dollars of engineering sitting idle in the heat. For a while, that was the airport's main identity. A graveyard for planes that weren't flying. But there is a deeper structural problem here. It's called the Aerotropolis myth. The idea was that if you build an airport, a city will magically appear around it. They promised residential zones, golf courses, and commercial districts. But people don't want to live next to a runway 40 kilometers from the city center unless there is a reason. And without the flights, there was no reason. So the Dubai South development struggled. It remained a patchwork of dusty construction sites and empty plots. The metro line didn't even reach the new airport initially. You had to take a bus from the last station. It was disconnected. Let's talk about the passenger experience. If you are unlucky enough to fly into DWC today on a budget flight, it is surreal. You land. The taxi to the gate is short because there is no traffic. You walk through immigration with zero line. It feels like a VIP experience, but in a budget setting. But then you try to leave. You step outside and there is nothing, just desert horizon and a highway. The taxi to your hotel in the marina might cost more than your flight ticket. This economic disconnect is why tourists hate it. They save $50 on the flight but lose $60 on the taxi, and an hour of their vacation time. The ghost terminal vibe is amplified by the sheer size of the land. The perimeter fence is endless. Inside the boundary, there are miles of empty sand where the other 4 runways were supposed to be. It is a constant visual reminder of the unfinished business. The government keeps announcing relaunches. Every few years, there is a press release. Expansion approved. Phase 2, beginning. They recently announced a new $35 billion injection to finally finish the job by the 2030s. They claim that DXB will eventually close and everything will move to DWC. But we have heard this before. The deadline keeps moving. 2020 became 2025. 2025 became 2030. Now they are saying 2050 for full capacity. In the world of infrastructure, a 20-year delay is a lifetime. Technology changes. Will we even need an airport that size in 2050? Or will travel have changed? The cost of maintaining this white elephant is a state secret, but it must be astronomical. You have to keep the lights on. You have to keep the air conditioning running. In the desert heat, you can't turn it off or mold grows. You have to pay security, air traffic control, and cleaners, even if there are no planes landing. It is a cash incinerator. There is also the competition factor. Abu Dhabi just built a massive new terminal, Zayed International. Qatar has Hamad International, which is consistently voted the best in the world. Saudi Arabia is building a mega airport in Riyadh to compete. The region is saturated with hub airports. Does the world really need another one just 40 kilometers down the road from the current busiest international airport? Dubai bet on endless growth. They assumed that aviation traffic would double every decade. Forever. But trends are shifting. People are flying point to point with smaller, efficient planes, like the A350 and Dreamliner, rather than connecting through massive hubs on A380s. The entire philosophy behind DWC, the super hub, might be outdated before it is even finished. I want you to picture the baggage handling system at DWC. It is a marvel of engineering. Miles of conveyor belts, scanners, and sorting machines, designed to handle 12,000 bags an hour. Right now, it spends most of its time motionless. It's like buying a Ferrari to drive to the mailbox at the end of your driveway. It works, but it is a tragic waste of potential. Let's dig deeper into the cargo reality. To be fair, DWC is not completely dead. It has found a niche as a cargo hub. FedEx and other logistics giants operate there. It makes sense for cargo. It's close to the Jebel Ali port. But cargo doesn't need marble floors, duty-free shops, and passenger lounges. The tragedy of the ghost terminal is specifically about the passenger experience. The building was designed to impress humans, not pallets of iPhones. The mismatch between the luxury finishings and the industrial usage is what makes it feel so eerie. It's like hosting a dinner party in a warehouse where the guests never arrived, but the catering staff is still standing there with trays of appetizers. Then there is the real estate trap. associated with the airport. Thousands of investors bought off-plan apartments in Dubai South 10 years ago, promised that they would be renting to the 100,000 employees of the new airport. Those employees never came. The investors are left holding properties in the middle of the desert with low rental yields and no capital appreciation. The failure of the airport to launch has dragged down the entire southern real estate market of the city. We also have to talk about the SIFI promises that never happened. When DWC was announced, they released videos showing flying taxis and hyperloops connecting the airport to the city. They sold a vision of 2050 and 2010. Today, the reality is a bus service. The gap between the marketing, the Jetsons lifestyle, and the reality, a long bus ride, has damaged the credibility of the project. Recently, in April 2024, the ruler of Dubai announced that the big switch is finally happening. They approved the designs for the new terminal. They say it will be 5 times larger than the current Dubai airport. They say that within 10 years, all operations will move. Is this true? Or is it another attempt to pump the real estate market in the south? Skeptics point out that the current Dubai airport, DXB, is efficient, beloved, and profitable. Closing it down to move to a megastructure in the desert is a logistical nightmare. It would involve moving millions of tons of equipment, thousands of staff, and retraining an entire industry. The risk of something going wrong during the transition is massive. And what about the weather? DWC is further inland. It is more susceptible to fog than the coastal DXB airport. In the winter mornings, thick fog often grounds planes in the desert. Building your primary hub in a fog bank is a bold move. They have technology to land in fog, but it slows down operations, something a super hub cannot afford. The ghost terminal also stands as a symbol of the sunk cost fallacy. This is the economic idea that you keep pouring money into a bad project because you have already spent so much. Dubai has spent $35 billion. They cannot walk away. They have to finish it, even if the market conditions have changed. They are trapped by their own ambition. Imagine walking through the first-class lounge at DWC today. It is open, it has food, it has staff, but you might be the only person in there. You can have the entire buffet to yourself. It feels like a simulation, a glitch in the matrix. It is luxury without the soul. For the aviation geeks, DWC is a fascinating place to spot rare planes. Because it is empty, it is used for test flights, military stopovers, and weird cargo aircraft like the Antonov. But for the average traveler, it is a place to avoid. When you book a flight to Dubai, you always check the code. DXB means you are safe. DWC means you have a long commute ahead of you. The story of Al Maktoum International Airport is not just about concrete and runways. It is a story about the limits of human ambition. It asks the question, if you build it, will they really come? Dubai proved that yes, they will come to the city, but they won't necessarily go where you tell them to go within that city. The market decides. And for 15 years, the market has decided that it prefers the old, crowded airport in the city center over the shiny, empty one, Imoso, in the desert. Will DWC ever become the busiest airport in the world? Maybe, in 20 years. But until then, it remains the world's most expensive waiting room, a place of potential energy that has never been released, a ghost terminal waiting for a crowd that is always just around the corner. If you visit Dubai, take a trip down there, walk the empty halls, listen to the silence. It is a humbling experience. It reminds you that even with unlimited money, you cannot force reality to bend to your will instantly. We will be watching the new expansion closely. Will the cranes actually start moving, or will this be another press release that fades into the sand? I want to hear from you. Have you ever flown into DWC? Did you feel the ghost town vibe, or do you think Dubai is playing the long game and this will eventually be a genius move? Let me know in the comments below. We are investigating the man-made rain disaster next. You won't believe what the cloud-seeding chemicals are doing to the infrastructure. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world's emptiest mega project, please smash that like button. It really helps the algorithm. And please, hit that subscribe button. We are trying to hit 100,000 subscribers this year, and we can't do it without you. Safe travels, watch your airport codes, and thanks for watching.